Why scars?
Healing is not forgetting the pain.
Do not confuse burning with glowing.
There are people out here who have not been given worth by the right waters. So they have to constantly keep looking for that worth.
I presume that when scars heal, all they leave is a mark, but your book is in continuous sense, meaning healing. Isn't a scar after healing it?
Greetings. In today's episode, we'll be talking about healing, and we have our amazing author, Mr. Patrick, the author of The Beautiful Scars.
Thank you for having me on this episode on healing. My name is Patrick Bryan, an author of Peace and Healing.
And joining us in this episode is Msomi, the curator of the book line.
So, Brian, this book is about healing. So, unpack for us, what does healing look like?
Wow. I'll refer to page 56 of my book, Beautiful Scars, the last statement, because, and that will make me explain pain and healing. Now, healing is not forgetting the pain. Healing simply means learning to live with the pain. Because for Mara, the character Mara in my book, he didn't forget the pain. He didn't erase it away. And that is what healing is. You learn to live with it. Allow me to use a very absurd example, like marriage. You see, marriage are two strangers coming together and learning to live together. And so it's the contrast between healing and pain. These are two different things, two totally different things. But as the carrier of the two different things, you learn to put them together. And that way, you are able to move from point A to point B. And that is now identifying the scars and moving towards healing. And that's why the tagline of my book is not fully healed, but finally healing. Because this is a process. You can never heal from some things. It's a process. It takes time. It's like a toddler born and walking from going through the milestones. In psychology, we call them milestones. From the crawling to the learning to walk with the limbs and the everything. So it's pain and healing. Because healing sometimes may look boring, by the way. Healing sometimes looks like just taking rest. Just taking time off the busy schedule and just taking rest. So healing is a process. Healing is not a final destination. Healing sometimes means learning to move with the reality. Healing for me, healing for Mara, because we're talking about Mara. Healing for Mara meant accepting all these things, but now making them beautiful. And that's why I said that earlier, unfelt pain breeds bitterness, and felt pain gives wisdom. For Mara, our character, he chose to feel every bit of that. And that's why we are seeing wisdom in this book because healing takes time. And if you read this book, you're going to see that healing takes time. And this book is going to help you to identify those, because there are people who are living. I got to that point. By the time I was writing this book, I realized I was living a very strange life, even to myself. I didn't know what I was doing. And it started when people started identifying the symbols that we've spoken about. When people started pointing out this and this and this and this. And that's when I sat down and I was like, okay, I need to attend to this. Because we say this, unless you heal, you will bleed on people who never hurt you. And that is what so many people who are living in pain are doing. They are bleeding on people who never touched them. Like you get into a friendship because you have not healed. You start causing that array of things to people. So healing is a process.
Uh, I sense that the word scar is being used figuratively. So why scars?
Yeah, sure. Scars is used figuratively here because scars is the aftermath of what happens. Like once I cut myself here, there'll be a scar left. So for this particular segment, it's not about the scene scars or the physical scars. It is the scars and the aftermath that is happening on the inside.
So educate me. My understanding of scars might be limited because I presume that when scars heal, all they leave is a mark, but your book is in continuous sense, meaning healing. Isn't a scar after healing it? Tell us more.
From this perspective, from my perspective, what I was trying to bring out is, and what I'm still trying to bring out right now is basically learning to live with those scars, learning to live in that pain, because every scar symbolizes something, that this thing was here, this happened, so I can identify myself with such and such a thing. And for this perspective, the scars that I'm talking about are scars that are coming from the point of pain. And somebody, our listener, could ask, what is pain? What leads to this pain? And I want to tell them this today. Pain is learning to live with the reality. And pain is not weakness. And that is why I wrote this book, Beautiful Scars. Pain is not wisdom, and pain only comes to be felt. And that is where we are. Many people don't want to feel this pain, and unfelt pain turns to bitterness. I got to that point when I was doing life, and the reason I want people to get to live beautifully with their scars is so that they can be able to process, acknowledge, and feel every pain. Because unfelt pain breeds bitterness, but felt pain breeds wisdom. So from these beautiful scars, it is generally talking about healing. Like the example I gave, when I cut myself, there can be left a scar. It will definitely heal, but it may not disappear there and then. So every time I look at my wrist, I'll see a scar.
So if I get correctly, the context with which you are talking about pain is in the context of emotional pain. But I also noticed that you have used different kinds of scars to represent different kinds of pain. Can you expound on that?
Definitely, yes. Scars present themselves in different forms. There can be emotional scars, there can be physical scars, there can be behavioral scars. There are people behave in certain ways because of what happened to them. There are people. I'm a psychologist, by the way, and that is normally seen in things we call personal traits and the behaviors, the behavioral. So scars, they fall into different classes. There can be emotional, especially pain that is not felt and pain that is not processed, it can manifest because that thing will remain there and it is not being handled. So their scars can present themselves in different ways.
It's interesting you're bringing up the issue of behavior because these three traits stood out for me. The first one was a feeling that love or approval is something you have to earn. Is one, stood out for me. Number two, need to prove your worth to be chosen. And number three, difficulty in accepting compliments. Help us understand, so what these symptoms represent.
So those three things are very important because number one, there are people out here who have not been given worth by the right quarters. So they have to constantly keep looking for that worth. And I'm talking this from experience from the book. There are people who don't. I'll give you this example. When a kid is being brought up, there are compliments from parents like "good girl," "good boy," "keep going." That kid will grow knowing when I do such and such a thing, and a compliment comes automatic. And there are those who don't receive such compliments. So when you do something and somebody tells me, "Hey, this is amazing," you retract back and ask yourself, "Really? Was that amazing?" And now that leads me to the first symptom is self-doubt. There are things that can happen to somebody and they begin to have self-doubt, such that this person, even standing in front of people and expressing themselves, is a big deal. Even somebody saying my name is and going ahead and giving a profile about themselves is a big deal. Symptom number two is behavior. Because of these scars that are happening and the many things that are happening to people, there are people who are not comfortable even in public. And I'm saying this as an example. That's why I wrote the book, Beautiful Scars. I locked myself up for 10 good months in the house because I was going through a hard time. So there are people who will retract back out of the public. And that now leads to the character traits that we see and to the personalities. The two major personalities, the extroversy and the introversy, they come out of things like scars. Somebody was brought up, they are active, they are bubbly, but because of pain and everything, they become an introvert. An extrovert becomes an introvert, or an introvert becomes an extrovert, and the vice versa. So there are many symptoms. Maybe somebody used to a glass like this, somebody could take it full. But now because of the things that are happening here and there, they can't take this glass full. Somebody used to take 2 plates of food. Because of pain and the several things that happen, they can't even do a full plate. So the reason this happens is because there is, like I said before, there is unfelt pain on the inside. And that is why we are here today, to help people know how to feel this pain and know how to heal eventually.
So you also talk about don't confuse performance with presence. That struck me. What did you mean?
I'll put it out this way. Performance is what we learn to do, right? Presence is who we truly are. Performance, how? And I'll tag the main character of the book Beautiful Scars, Mara. For a very long time, Mara learned the art of showing up, the art of faith, the art of being present. Okay? So he had adopted a performance. I'll show up, smile, be happy, be dressed well. Performance. And the sequence repeats itself over and over again. But now the presence is who he truly was. And that is a broken vessel, a wounded person. And I would use this, an uncompleted building. So people confuse the two. Presence and performance. I can put up a performance here. I'll smile. I'll be happy. I'll when you call me for something, I'll show up. But the presence is who truly I am.
So it's interesting that you bring up the issue of feeling the pain, because I have seen a statement that literally jumped off the page where you say, do not confuse burning with glowing. Again, a lot of figurative language. So what did you mean?
That figurative bit, burning and glowing. You see, when there's a fire somewhere, it can glow at the same time and it can burn. Burning means consuming. Like when we're talking about pain and all these circumstances, some of them consume. And you see, this is work that is happening on the inside. It's not seen. So the reason I used that was because I can be on fire to live. I can be on fire to exist. But on the inside, there's burning that is happening. There's destruction that is happening. There's some demolition that is happening on the feelings, on the mind, on the heart. And outside, I'm looking nice. I'm dressed well. I have the most beautiful smile. And that is the reason I put that in there, because there are people who may confuse the two. So the reason as to why I chose burning is because burning represents demolition, or burning represent consumption. When you light up a gas cooker, when you light up a jiko, it produces that burning. So that burning consumes the gas, it consumes the charcoal. So for this context, it consumes the inner person. And now the inner person may get consumed, but the outer person is glowing.